happening, people? Week 2, mission number 5. So today, and so now we've talked about what the importance of community is. We've talked about the importance of being surrounded by people who have achieved the skills that we want. We've talked about opening up our brains to the new possibilities. We talked about cognitive distant ideas. We talked about sympathetic joy. We talked about and how these with the neuroscience shows that how this can be so beneficial and along with communities. And so today I actually want to talk about what is called creative visualization. And so creative visualization is a method to think about the future and about starting creating the future that you really see in yourself, and how that can help you pull yourself out of depression. A lot of times, see, our brains and our depressed brains have a hard time planning for the future, and so we really have to think about how we can start planning for it. Even though we're at that pit, we can start planning for it. I'm going to give you some of the scientific evidence of why creative visualization is so important. Well, the first one is overcoming fear and building confidence. A lot of studies show that the brain cannot differentiate between vividly living an emotion and your brain actually just experiencing as a with your imagination, right? The brain chemistry changes almost the same. And so because of this, let's say that you have fear of dogs, right? Or not so much confidence. Well, confidence is actually not trusting ourselves. That's what confidence is. Not trusting ourselves that we're going to follow through with something, right? So we say, yeah, so that's not confident because we don't know whether we can actually follow through with it. And so the cool thing about creative visualization that have shown in studies is that it helps you overcome fears. When you come to a fearful situation, if you run it through in your mind one time, then when you get to it is the second time that your brain has actually seen it. If you run it through 100 times, then your brain is very used to that situation. And it also be self-confidence because then your brain is tricked into experiencing like achieving that already. And so that's what our brain has shown in studies, that it can be why it is so helpful to use creative visualization. The second thing is that it's actually been studied as to developing new skills faster. And so they've done studies where people who start trying to learn a new skill, right, shows that part of the brain in the part of the brain that is associated with learning actually gets activated. And so it's almost the same as if you're practicing this skill. And so it helps you develop a skill faster, right? And so especially when we're depressed and we want to see a little bit of fast results, might be a good idea to creatively sit and think about going through and imagine that you're actually having this skill mastered and mastered and mastered. And this is actually proven by science to increase the speed at which we learn new skills. The third thing is actually that it programs your inner GPS. What does that mean? So I've talked about this system called the reticular activating system, and it helps the lizard brain connect with the front of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, and it helps them actually pick up through emotions and planning any cues in the surroundings that is relevant to our goals. So it starts directing and guiding the decisions that we make and what we focus on, right? And so and then the next thing is that it actually helps you override limiting beliefs. There's studies that shows that whenever people go into thinking, calmly thinking is meditating. To meditate is to actually think. That's the name of the word. But the brain waves are measured, right? And usually the brain waves can move from beta waves to alpha waves and even theta waves. And theta waves, our brain is actually more suggestible, right? It receives information a lot easier. It doesn't have so much resistance. And so if we are visualizing actually if we are visualizing actually achieving a goal, our brains are actually more receptive to it. Also, through brain, what is called body scan relaxations, you can actually scan your body, just a mental exercise, right? You drop your body from head to toe, and your actual body is more suggestible to overcome pain. And any type of discomfort. And so the key principles of creative visualization are based on neuro-linguistic programming, and actually a lot of this comes from Carl Jung, and a lot of it comes from shamanism, uh, and the tricks that the shamans used to use to be able to take people of wherever they were at and put them mentally in a different place so that they could think differently and see new possibilities, and go deep into what they really desire. And so closing your eyes and then mentally intend and imagine a situation of a future event, right? This is how you do it. And then put yourself there. See, hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel. Like if there is a house that you're thinking about, touch that house, touch the materials in the house. Imagine yourself walking through the walls as specific as possible. Make the memory as vivid as possible. Always try to incorporate positive emotions, like a smile, like you're walking down the hallway and you see a smile, you see laughter, um, because you want to create strong emotions to that memory. That's how memory is getting imprinted in our brains. And so the more emotion that you put into it, the more your brain actually thinks that is happening and that is real. So it gives you that emotion. So that's the first benefit. And the second benefit is that it activates the reticular activated system to notice things in the environment that are relevant to that goal. And then the third thing is that it helps you move faster. And so, and you repeat that process over and over again, because the more your brain is taught to believe that this is real, the more it's going to take action, and the more it's going to notice things in the environment to be able to achieve this. And so that is the power of creative visualization. I do it every single day, and it really helps me at least organize in my mind what my priorities are and what I need to focus on. So that's it for today, everybody. Going into the weekend, break one, break two, take time with your family, take time to digest everything that we've been talking about this week. And next week is going to be really awesome. So, hoping to see you all there, and take it easy.